Ghost Tales.
Hey girlies and ghoulies, and welcome to the Girly Ghost Tales podcast. We're your hosts for this evening. I'm Amber.
And I'm Leah. You know those Reddit stories you start reading at midnight and suddenly it's 3 a.m.? Yeah, those. Tonight we're reading some of the wildest, creepiest, and most what did I just read stories Reddit has to offer.
So sit back, grab some popcorn, and get comfy, and
To
to
the
the grave we go.
My first one is from the No Sleep subreddit from Emma Watson but Dumber, and it does say December 2023 winner. Don't know what that means, but she must have won something for
Wow,
it.
it's gonna be a good one.
The title is I'm a paraplegic. Something knows my house better than I do. A skiing accident robbed me of my senses from the waist down, and I honestly feel pretty stupid about it. While some are born like this or become ill, I had a little too much fun and I was careless enough to lose what others pray every day for. That happened around 9 years ago. Since then, the desperation and mourning of my loss of mobility has toned down. You never really get over it. You just learn to live your life around this awful feeling, the same way you'd just walk through the living room around a giant boulder you can't move. Always in the corner of your eye, but you just accept that this is how it's going to be. The worst part used to be that I would always discover new things I lost. At first, you'd say that being a paraplegic means you can't walk or dance, but as months, years go by, you discover dozens of tiny losses and realize you basically miss out on a whole other life. After a while, I covered enough of those with my therapist, so now I'd say I'm doing okay mentally. I hated depending on anyone and felt humiliated if someone tried to bathe me or help me on the toilet, but thank God for modern technology. Luckily, my parents were able to pump some large sums of money to make my home accessible. I don't have an upper floor, just an attic I practically never go into, and a basement where I do my laundry and keep other junk. In the past months, something strange has infiltrated my mental well being. I never thought of the creepy aspect of being disabled. You know how you used to be afraid of sleeping with your legs uncovered or dangling out the bed, thinking that something might grab them in the dark? Well, in my case, sometimes I wonder if it did and I just didn't feel it. If something brushed past them and I just didn't know. I expressed that to one of my friends, and she laughed and said, "Yeah, what if some maniac licks your feet in the middle of the night and you can't feel that? They might start to think you liked it."
Ew.
She was obviously of great help, but my concern was also kind of ridiculous to start with, right? Over the past months, I've also become a bit worried about my physical well being. What if I'm becoming weaker? How will my life look in 10 years when I've noticed that at the great age of 27, I get more tired of moving from my bed to my wheelchair every day? Seriously, you know how I get up in the morning, my bed tilts up, and I lift myself into the wheelchair. As it happens with paraplegics, my hands have become stronger, and that isn't very hard to do, or at least it used to be easy. I started struggling to get out of bed in the morning, as if that wasn't supposed to be the easiest thing to do. My confidence has seriously taken a great hit when I realized that, but a few weeks ago I got up half an hour after going to bed, and it was as easy as I remembered, which got me thinking. So I started paying attention to the position of my wheelchair in the morning, and noticed that it was slightly further away from the bed. Not enough so that I would notice, but enough to make me struggle. Was I pushing it away in my sleep? No, it's pretty stable. I joked to myself that someone was moving it away to fuck with me. That joke was so funny that it stayed on my mind the whole day. The other weird thing happened while I was showering. I heard a noise in the hallway, and I spent the remaining time of my bath desperately trying to make sense of it. I was already in the middle of washing myself when it happened, and it's not like I can just dash out of the shower and throw a towel on to check it out, so I left the bathroom after I had finished and found nothing out of place. I didn't feel any relief, though. Yesterday, my housekeeper came over. She went into the attic to take out the cleaning supplies and then came down completely silent and wouldn't talk to me the whole day. I asked her what was wrong, and she just gave me a passive aggressive answer among the lines of, I know you can't make my job easier, but I would appreciate if you didn't just drop all your junk into the attic. I found that funny since the attic doesn't have an IPL. We thought it would be too expensive to install one, so the only person that goes up there is her. The only way for me to go up there would be if I hand climb the stairs, and I'm not a fan of that. She's always complaining though, so I didn't take her too seriously. She gets annoyed at me for being disabled as if that's my fault. That's the two things people feel towards you, pity and annoyance when you're in their way. I just let her be. She left without saying goodbye, so I figured she was just having one of her tantrums. I still don't know what kind of mess annoyed her so much in the attic. I genuinely feel like I might be going insane. Today I woke up with my socks off, and I know I had them on when I went to sleep. I feel the blood howling in my ears from the tension, and the dizziness of being afraid overtook me completely. I'm still trying to remember the fact that I took them off, but I can't. I'm more than certain I didn't. As certain as I am of the noise in my house. As certain as I am of the fact that I never heard my housekeeper leave yesterday.
Spooky.
I know, I wish there was more.
I know.
Like,
That's how I feel like a lot of Reddit stories are.
mm-hmm,
They just end on a cliffhanger, and I'm like,
mm-hmm.
what?
I know, so is it your housekeeper
Yeah.
being a creep? What's going on?
Woke up without your socks on seems spooky.
When you can't even, walk?
Yeah. So this one is from the No Sleep subreddit. My boss gave me one rule as a 911 dispatcher. If a call comes from the old house on the county line, you let it ring. Last night I answered. I've been a 911 dispatcher for 12 years, the last 7 on the graveyard shift. You think you've heard it all after that long. The drunks, the domestics, the panicked fumbling for words after a car crash. It all becomes kind of white noise, a rhythm of human misery you learn to navigate without letting it touch you. You have to. It's the only way to stay sane. My district is a sprawling, sleepy county that dies after 10 p.m. It's mostly soccer moms and retirees. The worst we usually get on a weeknight is a noise complaint or a teenager who's had too much to drink at a bonfire. The job for me had become a cycle of caffeine, fluorescent lights, and the low, constant hum of computer servers. I was burned out, deeply, extensively tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. The calls were just blimps on a screen, voices to be processed, categorized, and dispatched. I was a human switchboard for other people's worst days. The call came on a Tuesday, about 3 months ago. It was 2:47 a.m., the deadest hour of the deadest night. The line lit up on my console, but not in the usual way. It wasn't a cell call with a GPS ping or a landline with a registered address. It was just a raw signal, designated as unregistered VoIP. Not unheard of, but rare. I clicked it open. 911, what's your emergency? Static. A thick, wet sound, like listening to the radio underwater. It crackled and popped, and underneath it, I could just barely make out a sound. A whisper. Hello, can you hear me? It was a child's voice. A boy, I thought. Maybe 7 or 8. He sounded like he was trying to talk without moving his lips. This is 911, I repeated, my voice a little louder, a little clearer. I can barely hear you. What's your emergency? The static swelled, almost swallowing his voice whole. He's back. The man in the mask is back. A chill, cold and sharp, went down my spine. It was a professional chill, the one that tells you this is real. This isn't a prank. Okay, son, where are you? I need an address. Hurting mommy, the whisper came again, breaking with a sob. The static sounded like a swarm of angry insects now. Daddy's asleep on the floor. He won't wake up. Son, I need you to tell me where you are. I can't send help if I don't know where you are. My fingers were flying across the keyboard, trying to get a trace. But the system was kicking back errors. No location data. No subscriber info. Nothing. The old house, he whispered, his voice fading. At the end of the road. Please. Then the line went dead. Not a click, not a hang up, it just ceased to exist. One moment it was there, a line of static and terror, and the next it was just a dead channel. Even without an address, the old house at the end of the road was enough. Out on the western edge of the county, there's a long, unpaved road that just sort of peters out into the woods. And at the end of it, there's one house, a big Victorian thing that's been empty for as long as anyone can remember. It was a local legend, the kind of place kids dared each other to spend the night in. I dispatched a patrol car. My senior officer, a guy who's been on the force since before I was born, came back over the radio about 15 minutes later. His voice was flat, laced with the kind of annoyance reserved for rookies and time wasters. Dispatch, car 12 here. The property is secure, no signs of forced entry. Place is boarded up tighter than a drum. There's nobody here. Hasn't been for 15 years by the looks of it. 10-4, car 12, I said, my own voice betraying none of my confusion. Are you sure? The caller was a child. He said his family was being attacked. There was a sigh over the radio. Listen, the dust on the porch is an inch thick. The boards on the windows are gray and rotted. If someone's in there, they're a ghost. We're clearing the call. Tell who's ever playing games to knock it off. I logged it as unfounded and tried to put it out of my mind. A prank, a sophisticated one, maybe, using some kind of voice changer and VoIP
Sorry.
and VoIP spoofer. Kids these days. I was too tired to care. A week later, at 2:47 a.m., the same line lit up. The same static, the same terrified whispering voice. He's in the house. I can hear him walking. This time I felt a knot of ice form in my stomach. Son, is this the same caller from last week? A choke sob. He has a mask on. The one with the scary smile. Mama's screaming. Faintly through the storm of static, I thought I could hear it. A woman's scream. High and thin and distorted, like a sound being played backwards. I'm sending help, I said, my voice tight. Stay on the line with me. Can you hide? In the closet, he whispered. He's coming up the stairs. I can hear his feet. The line went dead. I dispatched 2 cars this time. I told them it was a repeat call, probably a hostage situation. I didn't want them to be complacent. They took it seriously. They set up a perimeter, used a bullhorn, they broke down the front door. The results were the same: an empty house, thick, undisturbed layers of dust on every surface, rotted floorboards, peeling wallpaper, the smell of decay and forgotten things. No footprints, no child, no man in a mask, no sign that a human being had set foot in that house in decades. My supervisor pulled me aside the next morning. He's a large, patient man who has a weary look of someone who's seen it all twice. He told me to drop it. It's a glitch, he said, not meeting my eyes. Some kind of cross chatter from another jurisdiction or a reoccurring electronic echo. Don't waste county resources on it. If that call comes again, log it and move on. But I couldn't. The boy's voice, it was too real. The terror in it was primal. You can't fake that. Not even the best actor in the world can fake that sound of a child who thinks his mother is being murdered in the next room. The calls kept coming every Tuesday like clockwork, 2:47 a.m. Each call was a slightly different piece of the same horrible puzzle. He's hurting Daddy now. There's so much red. Mommy stopped screaming. He's looking for me. I can hear him opening doors. Every time I sent a car, every time the results were the same. The cops got angrier. I was the boy who cried wolf. My supervisor gave me a formal warning. My colleagues started looking at me funny, whispering when I walked by. They thought I was cracking up. Maybe I was. I started losing sleep. On my nights off, I'd find myself staring at the clock, my heart pounding as 2:47 a.m. approached. The silence was somehow worse than the calls. I became obsessed. During the day, instead of sleeping, I went to the county records office. I needed to know who owned the house. The paper trail was a mess. It had been sold and resold, owned by banks and holding companies, but I kept digging backwards through dusty ledgers and brittle property deeds. Finally, I found it. the last family to actually live there, a deed from 1968. A nice, happy family with a mom, a dad, and two kids, a boy and a girl. That wasn't enough. I started spending my days in the library's basement, scrolling through decades of local newspapers on a squeaky, ancient microfiche reader. The stale, papery smell of the archives filled my lungs. I was looking for anything related to the house, to the family. For weeks, I found nothing, just property tax notices and school honor rolls. And then I found it. An article from a cold, late autumn day in 1975. The headline was stark: Local family slain in apparent home invasion. My blood ran cold. I zoomed in, my hands trembling as I adjusted the focus knob. The picture was grainy, black and white. It was the house. The same steep gables, the same wide porch. Police cars were parked haphazardly on the overgrown lawn. I read the article, my heart hammering against my ribs. A husband, a wife, and their 10-year-old daughter found dead in their home. The cause of the death was extensive. The article was vague, using phrases like brutal force trauma. The police report mentioned a possible intruder, a figure a neighbor had seen fleeing into the woods, described only as a tall man wearing some kind of pale, expressionless mask. But the last paragraph was what made me stop breathing. The family's 8-year-old son, it read, remains missing. Police found evidence he was hiding in an upstairs closet during the attack. The boy has not been found. A statewide search is underway. Authorities have not ruled out the possibility that he was abducted by the assailant. The crime was never solved, the masked man was never found, the little boy was never seen again. I sat back in my chair, the library basement suddenly feeling like a tomb. The static, the whispers, the closet, the man in the mask. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a glitch. What was I listening to? A ghost? The next day at work, I felt broken. I walked into the dispatch center like a zombie. I couldn't keep it in anymore. I had to tell someone. I grabbed my supervisor and one of the oldest dispatchers, a woman who'd been there for 30 years, and dragged them into the break room. I laid it all out: the calls, the timing, the empty house, the micro Finch article. I showed them the copy I'd printed out, the grainy picture of the house, the headline. I expected them to think I was insane. I expected them to tell me to take a leave of absence. They didn't. They just looked at each other. It was the look I'd never seen before, of a grim, tired resignation. My supervisor sighed a heavy, rattling sound and rubbed his temples. The older dispatcher, she just stared at the article, her face pale. So, it started again, she said, her voice barely a whisper. What do you mean, started again? I asked, my voice shaking. What's going on? My supervisor sat down heavy. Kid, he said, and looked like 100 years old. We need to tell you about the man you replaced. He told me the story. The dispatcher who had my seat before me, he'd been a good man, sharp, dedicated. About a year before I was hired, he started getting strange. He was obsessed with a specific address, the house at the end of the road. He kept sending cars out there, insisting there was a child in trouble. The patrols always came back empty. He started pulling old files, spending his days off at the library. He became withdrawn, paranoid. He claimed he was getting calls no one else could hear. We checked the logs, my supervisor said, his voice low and serious. The system never registered the calls he was taking. We pulled the audio records from his console. There was nothing on them but dead air. We thought he was having a breakdown, stress of the job. My blood turned to ice water. The system, it doesn't log the calls for me either. They just show up on the screen and then disappear. They don't go into the call history. The old dispatcher nodded slowly. We know. It's the same. He told us what the calls were about: a little boy, a man in a mask. I felt like I was going to be sick. What happened to him? I whispered, though I already knew the answer. One night, the supervisor continued, his eyes fixed on the linoleum floor. He took a call. We saw him on the console talking, his face ashen. He was typing a report, then he just stopped. He stood up, grabbed his jacket and his keys, and walked out without a word. The call was still active on his screen, but none of us could hear anything on it. We just saw the open line. Where did he go? He drove out of the house. His car was found parked on the road the next morning. Engine was cold, doors were locked, he was gone. The silence in the room was absolute. We searched, the old dispatcher said, her voice cracking. The police did a grid search of the entire woods, dogs, helicopters, the whole 9 yards. They went through the house from the attic to the cellar. They found nothing. No sign of struggle, no footprints, no him. He just vanished, wiped off the face of the earth. I stared at them, my mind struggling to process what they were telling me. Why why didn't you warn me? I stammered. How could we? My supervisor shot back, his voice rising with a frustration that had clearly been festering for years. Hey, new guy, welcome aboard. By the way, the console might be haunted, and the last guy who sat there disappeared. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it. You'd have thought we were crazy. We thought he was crazy until you came here today with the same damn story. He leaned forward, his eyes locking onto mine. This is what you're going to do. The next time that line rings, you do not answer it. If you answer it by mistake, you hang up immediately. You do not talk to him. You do not engage. You terminate the call and you clear the line. That's an order. Do you understand me? For the next few weeks, I was a ghost myself. I did my job on autopilot. Every sound, every flicker on the screen made me jump. I dreaded Tuesday nights. I drank so much coffee I could feel my heart rattling in my chest, just to stay sharp, to stay vigilant. I thought about quitting. I thought about just walking out and never coming back, but where would I go? Then, last night, it happened. It was 2:45 a.m. I was staring at the clock. My knuckles were gripping the edge of my desk. The minutes ticked by like hours. 2:46. My mouth was dry. My heart was a drum solo in my ears. 2:47. The line lit up. The unregistered VoIP. It felt like a physical blow. I flinched back in my chair. My training, my instincts, every fiber of my being screamed at me to answer it. There was a child in trouble. That was the job. But I remembered the pale, haunted face of my supervisor, the story of the man who had vanished. You terminate the call. I let it ring once, twice. The flashing light on the console seemed to sear my retinas. My hand hovered over the button, trembling. I couldn't just ignore it. I had to answer. I had to. I clicked the button. 911, what's your. The static was roaring, louder than it had ever been. It was a physical presence in my ear, a wall of noise, and through it the boy's voice came, not whispering this time, but screaming. It was raw, ragged, sound of pure agony and terror. He's got me. He's got me. Please. He's taking me. Please, sir, don't let him take me. Help me. The sound ripped through my professional detachment and tore right into my soul. This was it, the climax, the moment the boy was taken, replaying for all eternity. My hand flew to the keyboard to dispatch a car, purely reflexive action born of years of training. But I stopped. My fingers froze over the keys. He's gone. This already happened. This isn't real. The boy was sobbing now, his screams turning into choked, gasping pleas. Please, you promised. You said you'd send help. Don't leave me. I felt tears welling in my eyes. I was a 911 dispatcher. My job was to send help. I was going to sit here and listen to a child be abducted or murdered and do nothing. I'm sorry, I whispered, my voice thick. I'm so, so sorry. I reached for the terminate button on my screen. My finger was a millimeter from the glass. This was it. I was choosing to save myself. I was choosing to let him go. And then the screaming stopped. It wasn't a fade out, it was an abrupt cut, as if a switch had been flipped. The roar of static drooped to a low, sinister hum. The line was still open. Silence. My heart was in my throat. Did I do it? Then a new sound came through the headset. It wasn't the boy. It was a man's voice. A whisper just as terrified as the child's had been, but older, hoarser. It was distorted by the same underwater static, the same swarm of electronic insects. It was a voice trying to push its way through the impossible distance, through time itself. and it was a voice I felt deep in my bones I should have recognized from an old staff photo in the hallway. The whisper was faint, but utterly, terrifyingly clear. He's here. I froze, my fingers hovering over the screen. The voice was ragged, desperate, broken. He sees you, through the line. He's looking right now at you. A cold dread so absolute and profound it felt like death itself washed over me. I slowly, involuntarily looked up from my console, across the darkened dispatch center, toward the plate glass windows that looked out into the night. There was nothing there but the reflection of my own terrified face in the glass, my skin pale in the glow of the monitors. The whispering in my ear continued, a final, chilling plea from a place beyond hope. Please, get me out of here.
What do you mean, get me out of here?
It seems like it was the old dispatcher.
Yeah.
I don't
But,
know.
like, so he's, like, trapped?
Yeah, I wonder. Well, it seems like he went out to the house and then just disappeared like the child.
Well, it said, he's watching you through the phone line.
Yeah. Spooky. Looking for
Just-
more people to take.
Like, to lure over there.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes you think, like, about there being, like, multiple different, like, realities
Yes.
that we can't even, like, see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, portals and stuff like that.
Oh.
That's so scary. I would quit my job.
Same.
I
I'd be like,
used
this
to,
is too
like-
much for me.
Yeah, I used to, like, want to be a
dispatcher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, because I don't know, it would be so hard,
Interesting.
like, and emotionally, like,
Yes.
I feel like I would be so, like,
I would get
on
anxiety
edge
too.
and stressed out.
Yeah.
Or, like, if something bad happened and it was your call, like, I would
Yeah.
feel so guilty and, like, but that's scary.
And, like, trying to talk to, like, if there was, like, a really serious situation, trying, like, you're having to talk to them to, like, calm them down, keep them calm.
I couldn't do that because I'd be, like, freaking
I'd
out
be like,
too. I'd be
"Ooh,
like,
girl."
oh my god, what do you mean there's someone in your house?
Run! Are you stupid?
But that makes me wonder how many 911 dispatchers get, like, supernatural, like, paranormal type phone calls.
Yeah, it's just like that one that came from the funeral home.
And the one of the calling to do a welfare check, and
Yes.
she was at her kitchen table dead. We should do an episode on, like, 911 calls, like creepy paranormal 911 calls.
Yes.
That would be, like, why I would want to be a dispatcher,
Just
so,
for
like,
that.
even though it probably would never happen.
Yeah,
I'd just be waiting.
like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is it. This is the time.
Yeah, that's so creepy, though.
Ugh.
This one was from 30 days ago only, and it's also on the No Sleep subreddit. I don't even know what the username is. It's like Wistoh, like WHISTOHHHHH.
Oh my gosh.
So, whoever that is, this is their story. So, the title is My Daughter's Imaginary Friend Knows Things He Shouldn't Know. Lily told me about her friend on a Tuesday. I was making dinner, pasta with jarred sauce, the kind of meal you make when you've worked a double and your feet hurt and your daughter has been at daycare for 9 hours because that's what single mothers do. Lily sat at the kitchen table with her crayons, drawing something I hadn't looked at yet. Mommy, can Thomas have some? I didn't look up from the boiling water. Sure, baby, set a place for him. She'd had imaginary friends before. Mr. Buttons when she was 3, a rabbit who lived in the closet, Princess Starla for most of preschool. I'd read the articles. Imaginary friends were normal, healthy, a sign of creativity and developing social skills. I'd served Mr. Buttons invisible tea. I'd buckled Princess Starla into her car seat. This was just Lily being 5. He likes the twirly kind, Lily said. The twirly kind? Rotini. She sounded it out carefully. Rotini? I turned around. How do you know that word? Thomas told me. He said it's his favorite. That's creepy. Alone, like a
Mm-hmm.
5-year-old saying rotini
Yeah.
pasta.
Unless you're Italian, I feel like.
Yeah,
And even then.
yeah. I poured the pasta into the strainer and watched the steam rise. Rotini wasn't a word Lily would know. We always called it twirly pasta. I'd never used the real name in front of her. Where did you meet Thomas, baby? In my room. She picked up a blue crayon. He comes to visit sometimes. When does he visit? At night, when you're sleeping. No.
That's a no for me.
Yeah. The steam was still rising from the strainer. I watched it curl toward the ceiling. What does Thomas look like? He's big, bigger than you. He has a beard and his hands are scratchy. Scratchy? Like Grandpa's face when he doesn't shave.
What?
Like hairy?
Yeah, like
What do you
hairy? Like
mean?
short little hairs? Or are they like
Yeah.
long and
Oh,
spiky?
yeah, like sharp or like
Yeah.
sandpapery.
Ooh.
I set the strainer down, walked to the table, looked at what Lily was drawing. A figure, tall, taking up most of the page. Brown scribbles for hair, brown scribbles on the chin. The hands were huge. She'd drawn them twice the size of the head, the way children do when something makes an impression. That's Thomas? Uh huh. He said I'm a good drawer. I sat down across from her. My hands were wet from the pasta water, and I hadn't grabbed a towel. Lily, when Thomas visits, what do you do? We talk. He tells me stories. He knows a lot of stories about a girl who looks for treasure. She kept coloring, adding yellow to the figure's shirt. He's nice, Mommy. You don't have to look scared. I'm not scared. Yes, you are. You have your scared face. She looked up at me with her father's eyes. Thomas said you might be scared when I told you about him. He said mommies get scared easy. Ugh.
Hmm. Me. I do get scared easy.
Me too. Thomas said that. He said I should wait to tell you, but I wanted him to have dinner with us. She set down the crayon. Is that okay? I made myself smile. Of course, baby. Let me grab another plate. I called my mother that night after Lily was asleep. It's probably nothing, Mom said. Kids that age, they pick up words from everywhere school, TV, other kids. She doesn't watch cooking shows. She's 5. So she heard it somewhere else, maybe at aftercare. Maybe one of the other kids has a parent who cooks. She said his hands are scratchy, like a man who doesn't shave. Honey, Mom's voice shifted into the tone she used when she thought I was being dramatic. You're exhausted, you're doing everything alone. It's natural to worry, but this is just an imaginary friend. Don't turn it into something it's not. What if it's not imaginary? The silence on the other end lasted too long. What are you saying? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Have you checked the house? Checked it how? Locks, windows, I don't know, whatever you're supposed to check. I had checked every window, every door, all locked, no signs of forced entry, nothing missing, nothing moved. I'd walked through every room with my phone flashlight while Lily slept, feeling insane, feeling like the kind of paranoid single mother everyone warned me I'd become. Everything's locked. Then there's your answer. It's an imaginary friend. Kids have them. Yours is particularly vivid. That's all. I wanted to believe her. I tried to believe her. Then I found the candy wrapper. Saturday morning, Lily was watching cartoons in the living room. I was changing her sheets because she'd wet the bed, which she hadn't done in over a year. I found it under her pillow, a Werther's original wrapper, folded into a small square tucked beneath the pillow like a secret. Lily hated hard candy. She'd choked on a butterscotch when she was 3 and refused to eat any candy she couldn't chew. I never bought Werther's. I never bought hard candy of any kind. I sat on the edge of her bed holding the wrapper. Lily? She appeared in the doorway. Yeah, Mommy? Where did this come from? She looked at the wrapper, then at me, then at the floor. Lily. Thomas gave it to me. Quiet, almost a whisper. He brings me candy sometimes. He said it was our secret. What else is a secret? I'm not supposed to say. I knelt down, eye level with her. Baby, you can tell me anything. You won't get in trouble, I promise. She chewed her lip the way she did when she was deciding whether to trust something. He said if I told you about him, he'd have to stop visiting. He said you wouldn't understand. Her eyes were wet. But I told you anyway, and now he's gonna be mad. Lily, this is very important. Does Thomas touch you? He holds my hand sometimes when he tells stories. Does he touch you anywhere else? No, she shook her head. He just talks and holds my hand, and sometimes he sits on my bed and watches me sleep. He says I look like an angel when I sleep.
Uh,
I called the police. Me.
yeah. Oof.
They sent an officer, young, maybe 25, with a wedding ring he kept twisting. He walked through the house and checked the windows and asked Lily questions while I stood in the doorway trying not to scream. Does Thomas have a last name? I don't know. Does he come in through a door? He's just there when I wake up. Does he wear a uniform like a policeman or a mailman? No, just regular clothes. The officer took notes, checked the locks again, walked the perimeter of the house while I watched from the front window. When he came back inside, his face told me everything. Ma'am, there's no sign of forced entry, no footprints, no disturbance. Your locks are intact, your windows are sound. Then how is someone getting in? I'm not sure anyone is. He said it gently, the way you say things to people who you think might be fragile. Kids this age, their imaginations. I found a candy wrapper under her pillow. Candy I didn't buy, candy she doesn't eat. Kids pick things up school, play dates. She's been at home with me or at aftercare every day for months. He closed his notebook. I'll file a report, and I'd suggest maybe talking to someone a counselor, someone who specializes in children. Sometimes they can tell the difference between a real experience and a very vivid imagination. You don't believe me. I believe you're scared. I believe you're doing your best. He handed me a card. If anything else happens, anything concrete, call this number. I looked at the card, a general information line, not even a direct number. That night, I slept in Lily's room, sat in the chair in the corner with a kitchen knife on my lap, watching the door, watching the window, watching my daughter's chest rise and fall under her blanket. Nothing happened. She slept through the night. No one came. No sounds, no shadows, no scratchy handed men materializing from nowhere. Just the house settling and the wind outside and my own breathing too loud in the dark. By 4 a.m., I felt like an idiot. By 5 a.m., I'd almost convinced myself my mom was right. By 6 a.m., when Lily woke up and found me there, I managed to smile and tell her I'd had a nightmare and wanted to be close to her. That's okay, Mommy. Thomas has nightmares too sometimes. I went rigid. He told you that? He told me lots of things. She yawned, stretched, pushed her hair out of her face. He said he had a little girl once, but she went away. He said I remind him of her. I didn't sleep in the chair again. I slept in her bed, curled around her, one hand on the knife under the pillow. A week passed, then two. Lily stopped mentioning Thomas. When I asked about him, she said he hadn't visited in a while. She seemed fine, normal, no more bedwetting, no more candy wrappers, no more drawings of large men with scratchy hands. I started to relax, started to believe what everyone was telling me that I'd overreacted, that single mother paranoia had gotten the best of me, that Lily's imagination had conjured a friend and then moved on the way children do. I went back to work, picked her up from aftercare at the regular time, made pasta, rotini because she asked for it, and I didn't let myself think about why she still wanted the twirly kind. On the third week, I found the photograph. Lily had been coloring at the kitchen table while I cleaned. I reached under the fridge to sweep out the dust bunnies, and my broom hit something solid. I got down on my knees and reached under and pulled out a photograph. Polaroid, old, with that yellowish tint that they get. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6, standing in front of a house I didn't recognize. Brown hair, blue dress, smiling. On the white strip at the bottom, in handwritten ink, Emma, 1987. I turned it over. On the back, in different handwriting, fresher, darker, She looks just like you did. I don't remember calling the police. I don't remember what I said. I remember sitting on the kitchen floor with the photograph in my hand, and then there were more officers, and someone was talking to Lily in the living room, and someone else was asking me questions I couldn't answer. Who is Emma? I don't know. Have you ever seen this photograph before? No. Is this your handwriting on the back? No. Ma'am, do you have any idea how this got into your house? No, no, no. They
Why would I
searched,
call you if I knew?
yeah, like, they searched the house, really searched it this time. The attic, the basement, the crawl spaces, every closet, every cabinet, every gap between wall and furniture. They found nothing. No one hiding, no signs of habitation, no evidence anyone had been in my house except me and my daughter. But they also found no explanation for the photograph, no record of an Emma connected to me or my family, no match in any database, no fingerprints except mine from when I'd picked it up. We'll increase patrols in the neighborhood, the sergeant said, and I'd recommend a security system, cameras, motion sensors. If someone's getting in, we'll catch them. I had the system installed the next day, cameras on every door, every window, motion sensors in every room, an app on my phone that would alert me if anything moved. Nothing moved. For 2 months, nothing moved. The cameras showed empty rooms, the sensors stayed silent. Lily went to school, went to aftercare, came home, ate dinner, went to bed. She didn't mention Thomas. I didn't ask. I started seeing a therapist. She said I'd experienced a vigilance response to an ambiguous threat. She said my brain had pattern matched innocent details into a narrative of danger. She said the photograph was concerning but possibly explainable, a previous tenant, something that fell behind the fridge years ago, coincidence. I wanted to believe her. Then Lily turned 6. We had a party, just us and my mom and a few kids from her class. Cake, presents, the whole thing. She was happy, I was happy. Normal family, normal birthday, normal life. That night, after everyone left and Lily was asleep in her bed, I was washing frosting off plates. My phone buzzed. Motion alert, Lily's room. I opened the app, pulled up the camera. My daughter was sitting up in bed, looking at the corner of the room where the chair used to be. I'd moved it out after those nights of sleeping there because I couldn't stand to look at it. She was talking. I couldn't hear audio, the cameras were video only, but I could see her lips moving, could see her nodding, could see her hold out her hand toward the empty corner, palm up, like she was receiving something. I ran. Up the stairs, down the hall. I slammed open her door and hit the lights, and she was laying down, eyes closed, blanket pulled up to her chin, asleep. The corner was empty. Lily, I shook her. Lily, wake up. She blinked at me, confused, groggy. Mommy? Were you just awake? Were you just sitting up? No, she rubbed her eyes. I was sleeping. You were talking. On the camera, you were talking. I was dreaming, she yawned. I had a dream about Thomas. He said to tell you happy birthday. It's not my birthday. Not you, she closed her eyes again, already drifting. Her, Emma. Today's Emma's birthday. I pulled up the camera footage, scrubbed back through the last 10 minutes. Lily, asleep. Lily, asleep. Lily, asleep. No motion, no sitting up, no talking to the corner. But the motion alert was in my notifications, time-stamped 9:47 p.m. The app had registered movement, had sent the alert. I watched the footage 5 times, 10 times, nothing. My daughter in bed, not moving. But I'd seen her sitting up, talking, reaching towards something I couldn't see. I don't know how to end this. I don't know how to make you understand that I'm not crazy, that my daughter isn't lying, that something is in my house and I can't prove it and no one will help me. The cameras show nothing, the locks are intact. The police have filed a dozen reports and found nothing. My therapist says I'm processing anxiety through hypervigilance. My mother says I need more sleep. But last night, Lily asked me if Thomas could come to her birthday party next year. He missed this one, she said. He was sad about it, but he said he'll be there next time. He promised. Lily, Thomas isn't real. She looked at me, patient, a little sad. He said you'd say that. She went back to her cereal. He said you're not ready yet, but you will be. He's going to wait until you're ready. Ready for what? To meet him. She took a bite, chewed, swallowed. He wants to meet you, Mommy. He's been waiting a long time. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. because I can't sleep, because I've been checking the cameras every 10 minutes and nothing is there and nothing is ever there, but my daughter talks to corners and know words she shouldn't know and has a photograph of a dead girl under her pillow again because I found it there tonight when I checked. The same photograph, Emma, 1987. I burned it last time. I watched it curl and blacken in the kitchen sink. It's back. Same photograph, same handwriting, same little girl smiling in front of a house I've never seen. But there's new writing on the back now. Soon. I don't know who Thomas is. I don't know how he's getting in. I don't know what he wants. But he's real. He's here. He's been watching my daughter sleep, and he's waiting for something. If you're reading this and you have children, check on them tonight. Check the corners they talk to, the friends they describe, the words they know you never taught them. Check under their pillows. And if you find something there that shouldn't exist, something you've destroyed, something that can't be explained by imagination or coincidence or a mother's paranoid mind, don't call the police, don't call a therapist, don't tell yourself it's nothing. Run. Because I can't run. I've tried. We stayed at my mother's house for a week, and Lily woke up every night talking to the corner of the guest room, and when we came home, there was a new photograph on her pillow. This one was of me, asleep in my bed, taken from inside my bedroom. The date stamp said last night. He's not just watching Lily anymore. I don't know what happens next. I don't know what soon means, or what he's been waiting for, or why he chose us. But Lily says he's happy now. She says he smiles more. She says he told her that the waiting is almost over. She says he's going to introduce himself soon. She says I'll like him. She says everyone likes Thomas, eventually.
Ooh.
I hate
I
that.
hate it. That's like my biggest fear with kids.
Mm-hmm. Odin never had an imaginary friend.
I don't think I ever did either.
I didn't either. I used to like remember my friends having imaginary friends, and I used to think like that's weird, like that's
You're
dumb
weird.
that they have imaginary friends,
Yeah.
like. And then I remember like pretending I had one once, and then I was just like, this is
I feel
dumb.
stupid.
Yeah. So yeah, it just makes me think though, if like obviously some of them are just like their imagination,
Yeah.
but how many of them are actually like entities or like spirits that they're
Something.
seeing that we can't see?
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Imaginary friends just kind of freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
Little kids are seeing things that we can't see,
Mm-hmm.
so. Ugh.
I know. Like what? I don't know. It just is another question that I'm just gonna always wonder.
Yeah.
Like, what do they see?
Yeah. And did I see something that I just don't remember?
Right, when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Because, like, I remember always being scared all the time in my
Mm-hmm.
room and always getting up in the middle of the night, like, because I was always scared there was, like, somebody up there. And I would run and, like, sleep in my parents' room, like, on their floor every single night.
Yeah.
Um, and I also remember, like, I feel like I used to be able to like astral travel or like astral project
Mm-hmm.
because I remember always having like dreams, but now I feel like it wasn't dreams, but I would have dreams like and I'd be floating around my house. Like I'd
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm gonna go in the living room and I'd be like up by the ceiling, like looking down at like the living room and I'd go into like my brother and my sister's room downstairs and like just be going around my house like floating. And I remember like I could jump down like a whole like huge
I used
staircase.
to have that dream.
Yeah,
I think that one is a common one with
I
people.
feel like those weren't dreams. Like I feel
Yeah.
like we were like doing that like in like the astral
Yeah.
plane. Because I had that dream almost like every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would wake up in my bed, I'd get up, and I'd like jump down like 30 steps
Yeah, and you
and
just be like floating
or
down.
I'd like float down the steps. Like it'd
Yeah.
be like an escalator pretty much. Like it was like you're walking, but you're just like floating down them.
Mine was always I would jump down and I would just like slowly float. I used to have
Mm-hmm.
dreams too where I would be like if my house is full of water and I'd be like swimming
I
through
had
it.
that dream too.
I I don't know
Like
if maybe that was something similar
that
too.
can't just be like,
And what a weird thing that so many people have the same
and a
experience.
lot of people like when it gets brought up are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even like remember that and now I remember
Yeah.
having that same thing." Like there's a whole
Ugh.
bunch of people who have had those same exact
Yeah.
like that
That
it's
can't be a
and I've never
coincidence.
had
Like,
any dream like that as an adult,
mm-mm.
only when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and it was all the time. It was like every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be excited to go to sleep because I would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to go fly around like I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna go
fly around the
float.
neighborhood or fly around the house and like jump down the stairs."
Yeah.
And I would like wake up and I would be like, "Can I jump down this whole stair?" Like
Should
I
I
would,
try?
or I remember I would wake up and I'd be like disappointed every day because I'd be like, "Dang it, I can't actually do that and I can't
Ah,
actually float." Like it was so real and
yeah.
vivid. Like I just want to know. I want to like I wish I had the knowledge that we have now and I could go back to being a kid so I could be like,
Really
no, this
think
stuff
about it.
is real.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like when
this is
people are
not.
saying, no, this isn't real, you can't do this with your mind, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we could do so much and we just get things repressed from
Yeah.
like the government not wanting us to know
Yeah.
what we can fully do with our mind.
Oh.
Like I really wish I could still like astral travel and astral project.
You could probably learn to do it
Mm-hmm.
again.
There's things like videos you can like listen to and like meditations to do, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can never just shut my brain off, so I can never
I,
get into the state of like
yeah.
being able to do that.
This isn't really on topic, but kind of is because it has to do with sleeping. I am a very light sleeper. I wake up. I wake up to roll over. Like every time I roll over, I am waking
I
up to
do
do it.
too.
Like where Matthew, he sometimes I call my husband Matthew, and sometimes I call him Matt. He will. He's unconscious the entire night. Like he has no memory of doing anything throughout the night.
Yeah.
And the other night, Juniper's been sleeping in like the pack and play, but it has like a bassinet insert, so she's like higher up, next to the bed. And some nights she sleeps all the way through the night in there. Some nights she wakes up in the middle of the night or early morning, and I gotta bring her in the bed, and then she falls back asleep. And the other night, I woke up in the middle of the night and she was in the bed, and I was like, "When did you get in here?" Whatever. And then went back to sleep, woke up, and Matthew's like, "When did she come into the bed?" And I was like, "I literally have no memory of waking up, grabbing her, and putting her in the bed. 'Cause she can't get herself into the bed."
Yeah.
But I literally have no memory, which is so weird because I always remember waking up, grabbing her. It usually takes me a few minutes to fall back asleep.
That's
It was
creepy.
so weird. I was like, I don't remember grabbing you. Like it's the one time I've ever
And like I feel like he would remember if he got
grabbed
up,
her. Yeah, and he
unless he
would
was
not
like
have.
sleepwalking or
Yeah, and
something.
he's never done anything like that before.
That's
He would have to have come
creepy.
all the way around to my side of the bed, pick her up, and then probably walk to his side to put her in because he wouldn't have set
And
her
then
over
not
me.
remember any of it.
Yeah,
That's
it was so
weird.
weird. I was like, I don't know, kind of a
But it's like maybe it was like if it was something paranormal, at least they were like putting her
yeah.
in
They
the
were like,
bed.
oh,
They're
she's
like,
fussing
here,
here,
yeah. I feel like if it's like an old like maybe like a ancestor, like
yeah,
great grandmother or
something
something
like that.
watching her and they're like, oh, better put her in the bed.
Because
But like I don't think they could physically
yeah,
move her.
and it's not like I was sleep deprived or anything. Like I wasn't. I don't know. I was in the middle of my sickness, but I've never had an experience like that.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Especially because you just told me about.
Yeah, the shower curtain.
Yeah.
That freaks me out so bad. Cuz I literally thought it was my cat. It just sounded like somebody like moved their hand across the inside of my shower curtain.
Ugh.
And I was like, I was like, what the heck? I was like, Hazel? Is that you in there? You playing? And then I got up and I looked, nothing in there. I was like, I have an uncomfortable feeling. And I like ran out of the bathroom. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
freaked out.
That used to be like one of my biggest fears too. Well, it still is, but now our shower is like it's like the glass doors so you can
Yeah.
like see through it. But that used to always be my biggest fear, somebody behind the shower
Yes.
curtain.
But now I like to keep my shower curtain closed because it looks more aesthetically pleasing in my bathroom.
That's
But
what I used to
now
do too. But
now
then
I'm
it's
just
even
kind of like,
creepier
yeah, because now I don't know if there's anybody in there.
whenever because at my old apartment, like all of my old apartments that I lived in, I had like a shower curtain up and I would always keep it like closed. But every time I would get up to like go pee, I would have to like move it and look in there
Check in there.
first. Even like while I was like peeing, I'd be like, did someone somehow appear in there? Even though I
Yeah.
just looked,
I
like,
always see those videos of people are like punching their shower
yeah,
curtain. Like,
that's
that's me.
literally me too.
Ow, that hurt my elbow. But it's so weird because I've never had a bad feeling in this house. Anywhere I've ever lived, there's always something that creeps me out. But for some reason, our house that we live in now has never scared me. But, and I still don't really, that was the only time I feel like I've actually was like really creeped out and been like, what the heck? But even the few things like where the TV started playing by itself, or I can't even
It's
remember
like
the other things that happened.
explainable things,
Yeah,
like,
or like when the TV thing makes sense because my TVs, at least my Vizios, this one is a Roku TV. My Vizios will sometimes just like shut off, or I'll shut them off and then they'll turn back on. It's like a weird thing that they do. I hate it.
yeah.
But so I can maybe think like, oh, maybe it just is a glitch in the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But the hand thing, and then when my humidifier turned on by itself,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a little. It literally, it has to like click over something
Yeah.
and then turn on, and it was literally full blast.
And the hand thing is creepy because it's like it wants you to like hear
Yeah,
it. Like,
it's like
oh,
it was
I'm in your
so.
shower.
Yeah, and we have no vents in the only vent I have is on the floor next to the toilet. The air wasn't even on. There is technically a window in my shower. It's like this big that opens, but it's closed
Mm-hmm.
because it's
So it wouldn't
winter.
be like wind.
Yeah. And there's also a clear shower curtain over that window because there's a hole in my wall that we're trying not to get water
So it's
into.
definitely not that.
Yeah.
That is creepy. But I don't know. I feel like the veil for everybody everywhere is like thinning more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed like a lot more people are like experiencing weird
Yeah.
paranormal like unexplainable things, and maybe it's because of that, maybe it's because of like us doing this and like
Yeah.
ghost hunting and like
I
we're
feel like
opening up more to it.
I feel like it is the more we do stuff because I've never had anything before at our house, and we lived
Mm-hmm.
there for 2 years before we started this.
Your house is really old too, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. It was built in 1920, so.
There has to be something
And I live across the home from a
residual.
funeral
That's
home,
what I'm
so.
thinking too. Like, what if like, even though nothing's happened yet, like, what if somebody was over there and they were like, oh, let me go check out this house, and
Yeah,
they like are just going around to like the houses that are close by, and
yeah.
like it just hasn't happened before, but
Now it's something stirring
mm-hmm.
up. I don't
Or
know.
they like don't know that they're like dead and they're like
Yeah,
just what they're like, where am I
maybe they think that
going
this is their
here?
house, and they're
Mm-hmm.
just turning on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
getting in the
Getting
shower.
ready to take a shower, taking care of the baby.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I need to turn this humidifier on.
Mm-hmm.
I need to steam up a little.
It's just weird though.
Yeah.
I just wish when things happened, I wish we could see the exact reason. Like,
Yeah,
is
like I
this
wish I really
paranormal?
knew.
Mm-hmm. Like, what caused that to happen?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to know. Because so much stuff happens at my house too.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like poltergeist activity all the time.
You've got scary stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'll take the TV turning on by itself over that.
And I guess bringing like 50 haunted dolls into my house and portraits probably doesn't help.
Probably not, but where's the fun in not
Yeah.
doing it?
I like the chaos.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, so fun.
thanks, girlies and ghoulies, for joining us. Come back next week for stories about the Lady in White.
Make sure to follow our socials linked in the show notes and email us your ghost stories and anything paranormal at girlyghosttales@gmail.com.
If you want episodes 1 week early, live ghost hunts, tarot Tuesdays, automatic entry into giveaways, and exclusive bonus content, join us on Patreon for $5 a month. New episodes release every Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Until next time, and remember, if you hear a whisper in the dark, it's probably just us.
But just in case, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Remember, the veil is always thinner than you think.
Good
Good
night.
night. Girly Ghost.